In some times past, in a small village called Yukon, there was once a girl named Essie, known throughout her community for her extraordinary beauty, kindness, humility, and compassion. Everyone who met her admired her. She was the kind of girl every mother wished their daughter could emulate. Her gentle spirit and hardworking nature made her a shining example of goodness. But Essie was an orphan, raised by her stepmother, an envious woman who secretly wished her own daughter, Kino, could be as virtuous and beloved as Essie. Kino, with her striking features, was more beautiful than Essie, but her beauty was superficial. Unlike Essie, she lacked kindness, humility, and the diligence that made Essie truly special. One day, a man from the city named Robert arrived. Tall, dark, broad-shouldered, and exceedingly wealthy, Robert was a man many women admired. Rumors of his wealth and handsome appearance spread quickly, and many women hoped to catch his attention. Yet, what intrigued Robert most about the stories he heard about the village maidens was that Essie, despite her humble background, seemed to stand out, not because of her beauty alone, but because she was an orphan from a lowly background. That detail, oddly enough, drew him in. On a bright Sunday afternoon, as Essie was returning from church, Robert approached her. "Hello, Essie," he greeted with a warm smile. She was taken aback, surprised that someone so distinguished would speak to her. "Do you know my name?" she asked shyly. "Yes," Robert replied. "I've heard your name from many here. Your reputation precedes you. Honestly, I could write a small book about you, at least 3 chapters," he joked. Essie chuckled, cheeks flushing. "I hope you'll only write good things," she replied. Robert's smile deepened. "You've made a great impression on me, more than just your outward beauty. Your kindness, humility, and hardworking spirit shine through. That's what truly matters." They shared a light laugh, and Robert's tone grew more serious. "Essie, I really like you. Beyond the stories I've heard, I am physically attracted to you. I want to marry you." Essie's face turned crimson with embarrassment. "But you don't even know me well, and I don't know you either. How can you talk about marriage already?" Robert shrugged, a confident smile still on his face. "You can get to know someone in a day, a week, or even a year. It all depends on your level of interest. The more you're interested, the faster you'll understand each other. Trust me, once I become a matter of interest to you, you'll be amazed at how much you'll learn about me. And I promise, knowing me will be full of thrills." Essie's cheeks colored even deeper. Her heart fluttered as warmth filled her. "Please, send a message to your stepmother," Robert continued. "Tell her I'll be coming to see her officially next week Tuesday, that way, I can make my intentions known before we begin preparations for the marriage." Feeling lucky and blessed, Essie hurried home to share the good news. When she told her stepmother, she pretended to be happy for her, but her mind was already spinning. Later, alone, her stepmother whispered to herself, "Why do good things always seem to gravitate toward Essie?" She looked at her daughter Kino, who was more beautiful. What's so special about Essie? She wondered. Could it be that her father, my late husband, secretly blessed her? She dismissed the thought quickly. "No," she muttered under her breath. "Even if her father blessed her, that blessing will go to my real daughter, Kino. As long as I am alive, she will get what is rightfully hers." When Tuesday arrived, her stepmother called Essie to the palm oil mill to begin her daily work. But Essie hesitated, remembering Robert's words about meeting her family. "Today Robert said he was coming to see me," she said helplessly. Her stepmother scoffed. "That's your trouble. Are you supposed to wait for a man or he for you? The real groom waits for his bride, so go to the mill. When he arrives, I'll call you." Reluctantly, Essie agreed, smiling shyly as she headed out. Meanwhile, her stepmother called her own daughter Kino. She told her that Robert, the man from the city, would soon be asking for her hand in marriage. Kino was surprised. Mama, Essie told me Robert asked her to marry him. How come he's coming to ask for my hand? Her mother's smile was sly. I'll convince him to marry you instead. Don't worry. When he comes, I'll handle everything. Kino hesitated. But I love Samuel. Please. Her mother cut her off. Stop worrying. You'll marry a man who can give you a bright future, someone better than Samuel, the carpenter. Robert is a wealthy city man who can give you everything. Kino, feeling conflicted, nodded. She didn't want to seem desperate, so she kept her doubts to herself. Her mother's plan was simple. When Robert arrived, she would introduce him to her daughter Kino as the perfect bride. When Robert came, he made his intention of marrying Essie known to her stepmother. Her stepmother looked at Robert with a mixture of pride and cunning as she said, I've heard all you've said, my son. But let me ask you, why Essie? Robert smiled politely. I've heard many good tales about her, that she's a good girl, a true wife material. Her stepmother's eyes narrowed slightly as she responded with a hint of sarcasm. Those are tales from outsiders. Have you heard anything from close family members, like me? Robert raised an eyebrow but kept his composure. You know I've lived with her from the time she was a child. I believe I am in a better position to tell you all you need to know about Essie. Frankly, she's not as good as people think she is. She's a very pretentious girl. That's why she's been able to deceive many in this community. Her stepmother's face hardened as she leaned in closer. But I, who have been with her since she was little, can tell you the truth. She's a very loose girl. I shouldn't even be telling you this, but I feel moved to speak honestly, especially because I see you as a good young man. You don't deserve a woman like that for a wife. Robert's eyes flickered with curiosity, but he kept his expression neutral, listening intently. Now, her stepmother continued, take today for instance. I believe you told her you were coming. But she's not even here to greet you properly. Maybe she should have cooked for you or served you a proper meal. But look at her, she's not around. That's how she is. With a sly smile, she then called out, Kino. Come, meet Robert, our visitor. Please go get some drinks and serve him. Okay, Mama, Kino replied politely, rising to leave. As she left the room, her stepmother turned to Robert and began singing Kino's praises, glorifying her beauty, her good manners, and her virtues. She knew exactly what she was doing. Robert, observing her, understood her game. She was trying to present her daughter as the perfect bride, hoping he would be convinced. Deep down, Robert realized her true intention. She was trying to persuade him to marry her daughter, Kino, instead of Essie. What a crafty woman, Robert thought with a smirk. But I only need a wife for my own reasons. If she wants to donate her daughter to me, that's fine. For a woman of such low status, without a father, her daughter is almost as good as an orphan. He chuckled softly to himself, amused at her scheming. So, my son, the stepmother said aloud, if you're looking for a good girl to marry, Kino is here. But I am not forcing you. I only want to present you with the best choice. Ultimately, the decision is yours. To her surprise, Robert nodded in agreement. That pleased her immensely. She called Kino again, urging her to come and get acquainted with Robert before he left. After a brief moment of conversation, Kino and Robert exchanged contact details. He promised to return in a week to begin the marriage rites. He also handed them a sum of 500,000 naira to cover immediate wedding expenses. When Robert finally left, Kino rushed to her mother, overwhelmed with joy. Mama, you're a genius. How did you do it? I can't believe you just agreed to marry me instead of Essie, Kino exclaimed excitedly. Her mother smiled knowingly. I'm not surprised, my daughter. Men are always moved by what they see. Tell me, who would choose Essie over you? She's beautiful, yes, but your beauty surpasses hers. No contest. They both shared a laugh, basking in their triumph. Later that evening, Essie returned from the meal, exhausted but hopeful. She went to her stepmother's room, only to find her and Kino counting a large pile of money. "Mama," Essie asked softly, "you didn't send for me again like you said you would. Didn't Robert come?" "Oh yes," her stepmother replied with a mocking smile. "He came and met my beautiful Kino at home. He decided he wants to marry her, not you anymore. So, you see, there was no need to send for you." Tears welled in Essie's eyes as she looked away. "But he couldn't have done that," she whispered, her voice trembling. "He said he wanted to marry me." Her stepmother's cruel voice echoed. "Oh, Essie. That was just talk. He's chosen someone else now." "Oh, where do you think all this money came from?" Robert had given her enough to prepare for his next visit, when he would come with his kinsman to ask for Kino's hand in marriage. "Don't just stand there giving me that look," her stepmother sneered, voice dripping with bitterness. "Your own mother used her beauty to steal my husband from me. But in the end, it was divine justice. God gave me a daughter more beautiful than hers. Today, history has been written in my favor. Now wipe those tears and get ready to help your stepsister prepare for her wedding." Kino, her face a mixture of confusion and glee, looked on silently as her stepmother spoke. Essie, meanwhile, felt a heavy weight settle deep in her chest. She turned away quietly, her heart aching. The very next day, Kino saw the need to speak with her boyfriend Samuel. She wanted to tell him the news, that she was about to be married to someone else. "Samuel," she said softly, "I've got some news. I'm getting married soon." Samuel's face fell. "Kino, please don't do this," he pleaded. "You don't know much about him, and marrying someone you barely know is risky. Think carefully." But Kino refused to listen. She was determined to go ahead with her plans. A week later, Robert arrived to marry her. The wedding was a grand affair, an extravaganza of traditional rites, music, dancing, and colorful attire. The entire community gathered to witness the union of the city's wealthy man and the village girl. Kino looked radiant in her fine dress, her smile bright with anticipation. Robert, dressed in an elegant suit, was proud and confident. The celebration lasted for days, with feasts and joyful dances, a spectacle that left everyone in awe. Shortly after, Robert took Kino back to the city. But from the moment they arrived, Kino began to notice strange inconsistencies in Robert's behavior and the stories he told about himself. Instead of taking her to his grand mansion, what he had promised, he lodged her in a modest hotel. When she asked him why, his only response was dismissive. "You need to rest," he said. "We have a long journey tomorrow. I'm taking you to meet my family here in the city before we go home. Just relax for now." Later that night, as Robert was about to leave the room, Kino asked, "Are you leaving? Aren't you going to sleep here with me?" "I want to see my friends," he replied hurriedly, turning to leave before she could say more. Lying on the bed, Kino's mind raced. Something about him had changed. It felt as if we knew each other so well before, but now, a huge gap had opened between us. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. He's tired, I'm tired, maybe I should just rest. Throughout the night, Robert didn't return until 4 a.m. When he finally entered, Kino's heart pounded with a strange mixture of fear and curiosity. "Why did you come back so late?" she asked hesitantly. He didn't answer her. Instead, he said calmly, "It's time. Have your bath and get dressed." A shiver ran down her spine. "Time for what?" "I told you," Robert replied. "We are going to meet my family." "But it's only 4 a.m., Kino protested, feeling a rising anxiety. "Look, I haven't rested from our journey," he explained smoothly. "We need to leave early so I can rest. I've already informed them, and they're expecting us." Feeling uneasy but unsure what else to do, Kino obeyed. They journeyed in silence until they reached a place that immediately made her stomach turn. The gate was dilapidated, rusted, and overgrown with weeds. The surrounding area looked abandoned, damp, dark, and unkempt. The buildings were old, with cracked walls, broken windows, and fences made of tangled barbed wire. Shadows lurked in every corner, and strange figures with shifty eyes moved quietly among the shadows, their gazes lingering too long on her. Kino's heart hammered in her chest as she felt an overwhelming sense of dread. She realized with growing horror that Robert's true intentions were far darker than she had imagined. This was not a simple visit to meet family, but a place linked to dangerous rituals, possibly for money or power. Just 2 months earlier, Robert had run into his old acquaintance Victor, a man of considerable wealth, driving luxury cars, bragging about houses in every major city, and flaunting an opulence that seemed almost surreal. Victor boasted openly about his riches. "I've got more cars than you can count. I own houses all over the country, in every city you can think of." Fascinated by his friend's wealth, Robert asked how he could become equally rich. Victor looked at him with a knowing smile. "It's not just about money," Victor said. "There's a high priest who can open the doors to real power. But you must have the courage to do whatever it takes." Without hesitation, Robert answered, "I'm ready. Whatever it takes, I will do. I want to be as wealthy as you." Victor nodded confidently. "I'll take you to meet the high priest. He's the one who can help you unlock the secrets of wealth." A short while later, they arrived at a secluded, foreboding compound, an old, weathered place shrouded in shadows. The air was thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by faint whispers carried on the wind. The high priest, a tall, intimidating figure cloaked in dark robes, examined Robert with piercing eyes. "Are you married?" the high priest asked gravely. Robert hesitated before answering. "No." The high priest's face darkened. "Then you must marry, and quickly. But listen carefully, this wife will not be for you. She is for the gods of our temple. Once you pay her bride price, you must not be intimate with her. That is the sacred law." Without hesitation, Robert agreed to the strange and ominous conditions. Back at the place Robert took Kino to, that seemed to swallow the light, a shadowed clearing surrounded by twisted, gnarled trees and dilapidated structures that used an aura of malevolence. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something rotten and ancient. Kino's heart hammered against her chest as she looked around, her eyes darting nervously at the strange symbols carved into the stones, the flickering shadows that danced just beyond her sight, and the faint, haunting chants that seemed to seep from the very ground. Her voice trembled as she turned to Robert, desperation and fear threading through her words. "Robert, what is this place? What are they doing here? I feel something wrong. This isn't a place for good. It's evil." His patience snapped like a brittle twig underfoot. His face darkened, his eyes narrowing with a mixture of frustration and something darker, anger, perhaps. "Be quiet," he snapped sharply, voice cold and commanding. "You're asking too many questions. I don't know where your curiosity was when I was giving you and your mother all that money. You didn't ask questions then, did you?" Tears welled in Kino's eyes, glistening as they threatened to spill. Her trembling hands clutched her dress as fear gripped her entire body. "What are you talking about?" she whispered, voice cracking. "What are you planning to do with me? Please. I don't understand." Robert's face grew even more shadowed, his voice dripping with menace. "I don't know either. Whatever you see here, whatever they do to you, don't blame me. I didn't come for you. I came for your stepsister, Essie. Your mother, she willingly gave you to me. That's her fault, not mine." Without warning, Robert stepped out of the car, his eyes cold and unyielding. "Calm down," he commanded. Kino, trembling fiercely, refused to move. She was rooted to her seat, her body trembling like a leaf in a storm. Her eyes darted nervously as two large, muscular men approached. They greeted Robert with respect, their faces stoic but their eyes glinting with something sinister. "Your friend Victor is waiting for you inside," they said gravely. In the inner room, the high priest, a tall, imposing figure cloaked in dark, flowing robes, then stepped forward with a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of darkness. "Bring the package," he ordered. Robert pointed at Kino with a cold, detached expression. "That's her," he said simply. In a heartbeat, the two men moved to seize her, their strong hands gripping her arms as they dragged her away from the safety of the car. Her screams echoed faintly as she was pulled into the shadowed interior, swallowed by the darkness. Half an hour later, the high priest stormed into the dim, foreboding chamber where Robert was waiting, his face twisted with rage. "I warned you," the high priest hissed, slapping Robert across the face with brutal force. "I told you not to be intimate with her after the marriage. That was the only instruction. Yet, you've broken it. Look at what you've done. Your lust has betrayed your sanity, and now you will pay the price." Robert, his face bruised and trembling, begged desperately, "I swear I haven't touched her. Not before, not after. Please, believe me." "Victor," his friend stepped forward, speaking calmly but with a hint of urgency. "There's been a misunderstanding. Robert is not reckless. He's not the kind of man who would carelessly defy the gods." But the high priest's anger was unyielding. "She has been with a man after her marriage. That is the only explanation. The gods have rejected her because of her impurity. If you have watched this story to this point, it means you love this story, and that inspires me to bring you more African folktale stories inspired by reality. So what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell. Thank you." Trembling, Kino was brought before them, tears streaming down her face. Her voice was hoarse and broken as she admitted, in trembling whispers, that she had visited Samoa after her wedding, to see him one last time before leaving to the city, but while she was there, their emotions got high and they found themselves in each other's arms. Her words were riddled with pain and confusion, her mind fractured and fragile. Robert's eyes flashed with fury. He moved to strike her, but Victor quickly stepped in, holding him back. "You cheat!" Robert spat. "You cheated on me after we married. Who are you to judge me?" Kino shot back, tears streaming freely. "You married me just to use me as a sacrifice. You knew exactly what you were doing." The high priest, disappointed and furious, declared, "Both of you will pay for this recklessness." And that was how they both lost their sanity. He ordered Victor to take them away. In secret, Victor secretly whisked Robert back to his hometown, while Kino was taken to her village. But Kino, in her disturbed, broken state, continued to ramble, her words incoherent and desperate, carried away by the wind. Many dismissed her as mad, her story dismissed as the ravings of insanity. But deep inside, she knew her pain was real, and her cries for help echoed in silence. Meanwhile, Essie's life had taken a much brighter turn. She married a kind-hearted pastor, and together they built a life filled with love. Their union was blessed with 4 children, and they lived happily ever after, an example of goodness and faith triumphing over darkness and deception. This story warns us to be cautious of those who seek wealth and power through dark and dishonest means. Greed and the thirst for quick riches can lead to destruction, and trusting blindly in appearances or promises without understanding the truth can be dangerous. It also gives weight to the saying, "Every disappointment is a blessing in disguise." Have you ever been so hurt by a disappointment and later realized it was actually for your own good? Please share your own experience. It might just help someone who is currently struggling with the hurt of disappointment.